The alien ship floated silently through the dark space near Earth's solar system. Inside, Captain Zethmer studied the readings on his screen. His long, scaled fingers tapped against the control panel as he read the data. "Still nothing," he said. To his crew, the third planet shows no signs of advanced life. His second officer, a thin creature with 4 arms, nodded. "The same as always, Captain. No radio signals, no energy signatures, no space travel. Just a quiet world." Zethmer made a note in his report. Earth was marked as pre-civilization in the Galactic Federation's records. It had been this way for over 200 years. The Federation had bigger problems to worry about than one silent planet far away from the alien scout ship, deep in the cold darkness beyond Pluto. Admiral Jake Harrison stood on the bridge of his hidden command station. The massive structure was built inside a hollow asteroid, invisible to any scanner. Through the thick windows, he could see the stars that had been his home for 30 years. "Sir, we have the weekly intelligence report," said his aide, a young woman named Lisa Morgan. She carried a thick folder filled with intercepted alien communications. Jake took the folder and opened it. Inside were photographs, translations, and analysis of everything happening in the galaxy. The humans had been watching for 2 centuries, learning everything they could about their alien neighbors. "The Zephyrian Empire is still fighting with the Korthok Alliance," Lisa said. "Their war has been going on for 6 months now. Both sides are getting desperate." Jake nodded as he read. The Zephyrians were a proud species that controlled most of the galaxy's trade routes. They looked like giant lizards and believed they were superior to all other races. The Korthaks were newer to space travel but fierce warriors. They wanted to challenge Zephyrian control. "What about the Federation Council?" Jake asked. "They're trying to stay neutral, but it's not working. Some member worlds are picking sides. The whole galaxy is becoming unstable." Jake closed the folder and walked to the observation deck. Below him, hidden in the asteroid field, were hundreds of human ships. They had been built in secret over the past century, using technology that no alien race had ever seen. The ships were sleek and black, designed to be invisible to most sensors. Their hulls were made from materials that bent light around them. Their weapons used principles that human scientists had discovered by studying alien technology and improving upon it. "Dr. Morgan," Jake said, using Lisa's formal title, "do you think we're ready?" Lisa joined him at the window. She was one of Earth's best scientists, an expert in alien biology and psychology. For 10 years, she had been preparing for this moment. "The aliens think we're primitive," she said. "They believe we either destroyed ourselves or never left our planet. They have no idea what we've been doing all this time." Jake smiled. The plan had been his idea, proposed to Earth's government 50 years ago when he was just a young officer. Instead of announcing themselves to the galaxy like most new species did, humans would wait and watch. They would learn everything about alien technology, culture, and military tactics before making contact. "The Zephyrians have superior numbers," Lisa continued, "but their technology is old. They've been the dominant power for so long that they've become lazy. The Korthoks are fierce, but disorganized. Neither side has faced an enemy like us." On Earth, far from the hidden fleet, President Nicole Grant sat in her office reading the same intelligence reports. The decision to reveal humanity's presence had been debated for months. Some wanted to wait longer. Others argued that the galaxy's instability created an opportunity. "The Federation is breaking apart," her advisor said. "If we don't act soon, there might not be a galaxy left to join." Nicole looked out her window at the blue sky of Earth. For 200 years, her world had been peaceful. No alien invasions, no interstellar wars, but that peace had come at a cost. Humanity had been forced to live in isolation, pretending to be less than they were. "What does Admiral Harrison recommend?" she asked. "He says the fleet is ready. have technological superiority, and the element of surprise. Most importantly, we understand our potential enemies better than they understand themselves. Back in the asteroid field, Jake received a coded message from Earth. He read it twice, then called his senior staff to the command center. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said to the assembled officers, "we have received authorization from Earth Command. Operation Daybreak is now active." The room fell silent. Every person there had trained for this moment. They had spent years preparing for humanity's emergence onto the galactic stage. Captain Ryan Tucker, Jake's youngest officer, spoke first. "Sir, what are our orders?" Jake activated a holographic display, showing the galaxy. Red dots marked Zephyrian territory, blue dots showed Korthok's space, and green dots represented neutral Federation worlds. "We make contact," Jake said, "but not as supplicants asking to join their club. We announce ourselves as equals, with the strength to back up our words." Lisa stepped forward. "I've prepared first contact protocols in 12 alien languages. We know their customs, their fears, their weaknesses. They know nothing about us." Jake nodded. "The galaxy has been fighting over scraps for centuries. They've forgotten what it means to face a truly unknown enemy. They're about to learn." The hidden fleet began to move. Engines that had been silent for months roared to life. Ships that had waited in darkness for years finally had a mission. The asteroid field, which had seemed empty to any alien scanner, suddenly revealed itself to be humanity's greatest secret. As the fleet prepared to leave their hiding place, Jake thought about the journey that had brought them to this moment. 200 years of silence. 200 years of learning and growing while the galaxy assumed they were primitive or extinct. "Sir," Ryan said, "the fleet reports ready for departure." Jake looked at the stars one last time from his hidden command post. Tomorrow, those same stars would know that humanity had arrived. The galaxy would learn that Earth had never been silent. It had been listening, learning, and preparing for this moment. "Take us out," Jake ordered. "It's time to introduce ourselves to the galaxy." Commander Beth Carter stood on the bridge of the USS Ranger as her ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel. Through the main screen, she could see the Federation border station floating in space like a metal flower. The station was huge, bigger than any structure humans had built, with docking bays for dozens of alien ships. "We're being scanned," reported Lieutenant Danny Brooks from his communication station. "Multiple energy signatures trying to penetrate our hull." Beth smiled. The alien scanners would find nothing. Human stealth technology was decades ahead of anything the Federation had developed. To their instruments, the Ranger would appear as little more than a strange energy reading. "Bring us closer," Beth ordered. "Let them get a good look." The Ranger moved toward the station, its black hole rippling as the cloaking field adjusted. On the station, alarm bells began to ring. Alien voices filled the communication channels, speaking in languages that sounded like music, growls, and electronic tones. "They're panicking," Danny said with a grin. He had spent 5 years learning alien languages, preparing for this moment. "Station Commander Kestel is demanding to know what we are." Beth activated the ship's external communicators. When she spoke, her words were translated into perfect Zephyrian, the galaxy's common language. "Federation Station Outpost 7, this is Commander Beth Carter of the human vessel USS Ranger. We come in peace and request permission to dock." The communication channels went silent. On the station, hundreds of aliens stared at their screens in disbelief. The strange ship had appeared from nowhere, using technology they had never seen, and now it was speaking their language perfectly. Commander Kestel, a 7-foot-tall lizard-like Zephyrian, gripped his command chair with clawed hands. In 40 years of service, he had never encountered anything like this. The ship's design was unlike any known species. Its energy signature was impossible to read, and somehow, the aliens inside knew perfect Zephyrian. How? How long have you been watching us? Keshtal asked, his voice shaking. Long enough, Beth replied. We would like to speak with your Federation Council. Humanity is ready to join the galactic community. The word humanity sent shockwaves through the station. Every alien there had studied the surveys of the Sol system. The third planet, Earth, had been classified as pre-civilization for over 2 centuries. There were no signs of advanced life. No radio signals, no space travel. Impossible, Keshtal whispered. Your world is primitive. We have the surveys. Beth's voice came through the speakers. Calm and confident. Your surveys saw what we wanted them to see. We have been watching, learning, and preparing. Now we are ready to meet our neighbors. On the station, panic spread through the alien crew. If the humans had been watching for centuries, what did they know? How advanced were they? And most importantly, what did they want? Danny monitored the alien communications as news of the contacts spread through the galactic network. Within hours, every major government in the galaxy would know about humanity's arrival. The Zephyrian Empire is mobilizing their fleets, he reported. They're calling it a security response to an unknown threat. Beth nodded. They had expected this reaction. The Zephyrians were the galaxy's dominant power, and they didn't like surprises. What about the Korthax? She asked. They're interested. War Chief Gorthak wants to meet with us. He thinks we might be useful allies against the Empire. Back on Earth, President Nicole Grant watched the first contact from her situation room. The room was filled with advisors, generals, and scientists, all monitoring the historic moment. The aliens are scared, said Dr. Amy Foster, Earth's expert on alien psychology. They've never encountered a species that developed in secret. Most new civilizations announce themselves as soon as they achieve space travel. General Alex Stone, Earth's military commander, studied the tactical reports. The Zephyrians are moving 12 fleets toward the border. They're treating this as a potential invasion. Nicole frowned. We expected them to be cautious, but this seems extreme. They're not just cautious, Amy explained. They're terrified. For 200 years, they've believed they knew everything about the galaxy. Now they've discovered a species that's been watching them without being detected. It challenges their entire worldview. On the border station, Commander Keshtal finally granted the human ship permission to dock. The Ranger moved smoothly into the station's docking bay, its hull still shimmering with energy. Beth led a small team through the airlock into the station. The aliens waiting for them were a mix of species from across the Federation. Zephyrians, Korthox, and several other races all stared at the humans with a mixture of fear and curiosity. Welcome to Federation space, Keshtal said formally. I am Commander Keshtal of the Zephyrian Imperial Navy. Beth smiled and extended her hand in the human gesture of greeting. Thank you for your hospitality, Commander. We look forward to peaceful relations with all species. Keshtal stared at the offered hand, unsure what to do. Human customs were completely unknown to him. After a moment, he reached out with his clawed hand and grasped Beth's. Your technology, he said quietly. How advanced are you? Advanced. Enough, Beth replied. We've had time to develop while the galaxy was busy with its own affairs. The meeting was broadcast live to the Federation Council on the capital world of Nexus Prime. The council chamber, a massive dome that could hold representatives from 1,000 worlds, fell silent as they watched the first human diplomat shake hands with a Zephyrian commander. Chancellor Vextar, the leader of the Zephyrian Empire, watched the broadcast with growing anger. The Empire had ruled the galaxy for 5 centuries. They had defeated every challenge to their power. Now, an unknown species had appeared with technology that surpassed their own. How many ships do they have? He demanded. His intelligence chief, a nervous creature with multiple eyes, consulted his reports. Unknown, Chancellor. Our sensors cannot penetrate their stealth technology. They could have 1 ship, or 1,000. Vextar's claws scraped against his throne. Find out. Use every resource we have. I want to know everything about these humans. Meanwhile, in Korthak space, War Chief Gorthak watched the same broadcast with interest. The Korthaks had been fighting the Zephyrians for months, and the war was not going well. The Empire had superior numbers and technology, but now, a new player had entered the game. Send a message to the humans, he ordered. Tell them, the Korthak Alliance wishes to meet. Perhaps we can help each other. Back on the border station, Beth concluded her initial meeting with the Federation representatives. She had answered some questions and avoided others, giving the aliens just enough information to satisfy their curiosity without revealing humanity's true capabilities. We will be sending a formal delegation to the Federation Council, she announced. Humanity wishes to join the galactic community as equals. The word equals sent another ripple through the watching aliens. Most new species joined the Federation as junior members, grateful for the protection and technology of more advanced civilizations. The humans were demanding equal status from the beginning. As the meeting ended, Beth returned to her ship. The Ranger undocked from the station and moved back into open space, its hull shimmering as the cloaking field reactivated. Set course for Earth, she ordered. We need to report to Admiral Harrison. Denny monitored the alien communications as they traveled home. The galaxy was buzzing with news of humanity's arrival. Some species were curious, others fearful. The Zephyrian Empire was mobilizing for war, while the Korthak Alliance was offering friendship. The galaxy is about to change, Danny said. Beth nodded as she watched the stars streak past. For 2 centuries, humanity had been the galaxy's secret. Now they were its newest mystery. And soon, the aliens would learn that humans were much more than they appeared to be. Let them wonder, she said. Tomorrow, they'll start getting answers. Captain Tony Martinez watched the alien fleet through his ship's sensors. The USS Phantom was completely invisible, floating in empty space, while dozens of Zephyrian warships passed nearby. The aliens had no idea they were being watched. Count them again, Tony whispered to his crew. 47 heavy cruisers, 12 battleships, and 1 dreadnought, reported his sensor operator. That's just this group. Intelligence says there are 5 more fleets moving toward Federation space. Tony shook his head. The Zephyrians were mobilizing their entire navy, all because one human ship had said hello to a border station. They're scared, said Dr. Amy Foster, who was aboard the Phantom as a military observer. Chancellor Vexstar is treating humanity like an invasion force. Tony activated his communication system and sent a coded message back to Earth. The information would reach Admiral Harrison within hours, along with detailed scans of every Zephyrian ship in the fleet. On Earth, Senator Patricia Lane paced back and forth in the government building. The Senate Defense Committee was meeting in emergency session to discuss the galaxy's reaction to first contact. The Zephyrians have declared a security emergency, she said to the other senators. They're moving 6 fleets toward human space. That's over 300 warships. President Nicole Grant sat at the head of the table, reading intelligence reports. What about the other species? Mixed reactions, replied General Alex Stone. The Korthaks want to ally with us against the Empire. Several smaller species are staying neutral, but the Zephyrians are pressuring everyone to choose sides. Senator Lane stopped pacing. We need to show strength. If we appear weak, the Zephyrians will attack. We should reveal our full fleet now. That could start a war, Nicole warned. War may have already started, Patricia replied. The Zephyrians aren't mobilizing their fleets for a parade. In the hidden shipyards beyond Pluto, Admiral Jake Harrison received the latest intelligence reports. The Zephyrian Empire was treating humanity like a threat that needed to be eliminated. War seemed inevitable. Sir, said his aide, Ryan Tucker, we have a message from the Korthak Alliance. War Chief Gorthak wants to meet. Bait. Jake studied the message. The Korthoks were fierce warriors who had been fighting the Zephyrians for months. An alliance with them could be useful, but it would also mean taking sides in an alien war. "What do you think, Dr. Morgan?" he asked. Lisa looked up from her analysis of alien military tactics. "The Korthoks are brave, but disorganized. They fight with honor but lack strategic thinking. The Zephyrians are the opposite. They're methodical and efficient, but arrogant, which makes them more dangerous. The Zephyrians, they have superior numbers, and they're unified under one command. The Korthoks are a collection of independent clans that barely work together." Jake nodded. The decision was becoming clear. Humanity would need allies, and the Korthoks were the most logical choice. "Arrange a meeting with War Chief Korthok," he ordered. "But make it clear that we're not subordinates. We meet as equals." Meanwhile, on the Zephyrian capital world, Chancellor Vexstar reviewed intelligence reports about humanity. The information was frustrating. Despite their best efforts, Zephyrian spies had learned almost nothing about human capabilities. "They have superior stealth technology," reported his intelligence chief. "Our sensors cannot track their ships. For all we know, they could have a fleet surrounding this planet right now." Vexstar's eyes narrowed. "How is that possible? Our surveys showed that their world was primitive." "The surveys may have been wrong, Chancellor, or the humans may have been deliberately hiding their true capabilities." "For 200 years, Vexstar's voice rose with anger. "You're telling me that an unknown species has been watching us, learning our secrets, for 2 centuries? The intelligence chief nodded nervously. "That appears to be the case, Chancellor." Vexstar stood up from his throne and walked to the window. Outside, the capital city stretched to the horizon, a monument to Zephyrian power. For 5 centuries, his people had ruled the galaxy. Now, that rule was being challenged by a species that had appeared from nowhere. "Double the fleet deployment," he ordered. "I want every available ship ready for war." Back on Earth, the government was making its own preparations. President Nicole Grant had authorized Admiral Harrison to reveal humanity's true military strength. The time for hiding was over. In the asteroid fields beyond Pluto, massive structures began to move. What had appeared to be empty space suddenly revealed itself to be humanity's greatest secret. Hundreds of ships emerged from hidden bases, their black holes gleaming in the starlight. The ships were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. They were sleek and deadly, built with technology that human scientists had spent 2 centuries perfecting. Each vessel was a masterpiece of engineering, combining stealth, speed, and firepower in ways that alien designers had never imagined. Admiral Harrison stood on the bridge of his new flagship, the USS Sovereign. The massive dreadnought was twice the size of any Zephyrian ship, its hull bristling with weapons that used principles unknown to galactic science. "Fleet status report," he ordered. "All ships operational, sir," reported Captain Linda Gray from the USS Intrepid. "We have 200 heavy cruisers, 50 battleships, and 10 dreadnoughts ready for action." Jake smiled. The aliens thought. They knew about human technology based on 1 scout ship. They were about to learn how wrong they were. "Sir," called Ryan Tucker from the communication station, "we're receiving a message from the Korthok Alliance. War Chief Korthok agrees to meet." The meeting took place in neutral space, at the edge of Federation territory. The Korthok flagship was a massive angular vessel that looked like it was built for ramming rather than elegant maneuvering. War Chief Korthok was exactly what Jake had expected, a 7-foot-tall warrior with scars covering his arms and face. "So, you are the humans," Korthok said, in heavily accented galactic standard. "You have made the Zephyrians very angry." "We introduced ourselves peacefully," Jake replied. "They chose to respond with threats." Korthok laughed, a sound like grinding metal. "The Zephyrians fear anything they cannot control. They have ruled for too long. They have forgotten what it means to face a real challenge. Are you offering an alliance? Jake asked directly. I am offering partnership, Gorthak corrected. The Korthax do not bow to anyone, but we recognize strength when we see it. Your stealth technology is impressive. Jake gestured to the view screen, where the human fleet was visible in the distance. Our technology goes beyond stealth, Warchief. Gorthak's eyes widened as he saw the human ships. Even from a distance, their advanced design was obvious. These were not the primitive vessels his intelligence officers had predicted. How many ships do you have? He asked. Enough, Jake replied. The question is whether you're prepared to stand with us when the Zephyrians attack. They will attack, Gorthak agreed. Vexstar cannot allow a new power to challenge his empire. He will send everything he has. Then we'll be ready for him. The two leaders shook hands, sealing humanity's first alien alliance. As the Korthak ship departed, Jake returned to his command center. The galaxy was choosing sides, and war was coming. Sir, reported Tony Martinez from the USS Phantom, Zephyrian fleets are massing at the border. They'll be ready to attack within days. Jake nodded. The time for diplomacy was over. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity had spent 2 centuries preparing for this moment. All ships, prepare for battle, he ordered. The Zephyrians want a war. Let's give them one they'll never forget. Fleet Admiral Sam Cooper stood on the bridge of the USS Sovereign as the massive human fleet moved through space. Around him, 200 ships traveled in perfect formation, their black holes invisible to most alien sensors. Enemy fleet detected, reported the sensor operator. Zephyrian Empire forces, approximately 400 ships. Sam nodded. The Zephyrians had gathered their largest fleet in centuries. Confident that their numbers would overwhelm the mysterious humans, they were about to learn a hard lesson. All ships, battle stations, Sam ordered. Today we show the galaxy what humanity is capable of. The Battle of Proxima Centauri began when the Zephyrian fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel. Chancellor Vexstar had sent his best admiral Kethmer with orders to destroy the human fleet completely. Where are they? Admiral Kethmer demanded as his sensors showed empty space. Intelligence reported a human fleet in this sector. His sensor operator, a nervous young Zephyrian, checked his instruments again. Sir, I'm detecting strange energy. Readings, but no ships. Impossible. 400 ships don't just disappear. The answer came when the human fleet suddenly appeared around them. The USS Sovereign materialized directly in front of the Zephyrian flagship, its massive guns aimed at the enemy bridge. Zephyrian fleet, this is Fleet Admiral Sam Cooper of the Human Navy. You are trespassing in human space. Withdraw immediately, or face the consequences. Admiral Kethmer stared at the human dreadnought in shock. The ship was enormous, larger than any vessel in the Zephyrian fleet. Its design was completely alien, with weapons that looked like nothing in any database. Human Admiral Kethmer replied, I have orders from Chancellor Vexter to eliminate your fleet. Surrender now, and you will be treated according to military law. Sam's voice came back cold and hard. You have 10 seconds to begin withdrawal. After that, we will consider your presence an act of war. Kethmer looked around at his fleet. 400 ships against what appeared to be 200 humans. The numbers were in his favor, and Zephyrian technology had ruled the galaxy for centuries. All ships, attack formation, he ordered. Destroy the humans. The Zephyrian fleet opened fire with everything they had. Energy beams and missiles filled the space between the two fleets. The aliens expected to see human ships explode under the barrage. Instead, the human vessels absorbed the attacks without damage. Their shields used technology that the Zephyrians had never encountered. Energy that should have destroyed their hulls simply disappeared. Impossible, Kethmer whispered. Our weapons aren't even scratching them. Captain Linda Gray watched the alien attacks from the bridge of the USS Intrepid. The Zephyrian weapons were powerful, but primitive, like throwing stones at a modern tank. "Return fire," she ordered. "Let's show them what real weapons look like." The human fleet opened fire with weapons that used principles unknown to galactic science. Quantum torpedoes tore through Zephyrian shields like paper. Energy beams cut alien ships in half with surgical precision. Within minutes, 50 Zephyrian ships were destroyed. The alien fleet had never faced weapons so advanced. Their shields, designed to stop conventional energy weapons, were useless against human technology. Admiral called Kethmer's communication officer. "The humans are using some kind of quantum-based weaponry. Our shields can't stop it." Kethmer watched in horror as his fleet was torn apart. "How is this possible? They're just one species. We rule the galaxy." Major Kevin Price led the first human boarding action when his Marines teleported directly onto a Zephyrian cruiser. The alien crew had never seen technology like human combat suits, which made the Marines faster and stronger than any biological creature. "Secure the bridge," Kevin ordered as his team moved through the ship. The Zephyrians fought bravely, but their weapons couldn't penetrate human armor. "Ship secured, sir," one of his Marines reported. "The aliens are asking how we got past their shields." Kevin smiled inside his helmet. "Tell them we've been improving their technology for 2 centuries. The battle turned into a massacre. Human ships moved like dancers, their advanced engines allowing them to dodge attacks that should have been impossible to avoid. Their weapons struck with perfect accuracy, guided by artificial intelligence that could calculate millions of variables in seconds. Captain Linda, Gray's USS Intrepid, became the hero of the battle when she faced a Zephyrian dreadnought 3 times. Her size. The alien ship, the pride of Zephyr, was Admiral Kethmer's flagship and the most powerful vessel in their fleet. "They're targeting us specifically," reported her tactical officer. "That's their command ship." Linda studied the enemy vessel on her screen. It was massive and heavily armed, but it moved like a mountain compared to her sleek cruiser. "All power to forward weapons," she ordered. "Let's end this." The Intrepid fired a concentrated burst from its quantum cannons. The energy struck the pride of Zephyr's main reactor, causing a chain reaction that tore the massive ship apart from the inside. Admiral Kethmer's last words were transmitted across the galaxy. How did they become so strong? The Battle of Proxima Centauri was over in less than an hour. Of the 400 Zephyrian ships, only 20 survived to escape. The human fleet had lost nothing. Fleet Admiral Sam Cooper addressed the survivors. "Return to your Chancellor with this message. Humanity seeks peace, but we will defend ourselves. Any further attacks will result in the complete destruction of your forces." The news of the battle spread through the galaxy like wildfire. The mighty Zephyrian Empire, rulers of space for 5 centuries, had been utterly defeated by a species that had appeared from nowhere. On the Zephyrian capital world, Chancellor Vextar received the battle reports in stunned silence. His greatest fleet, commanded by his best admiral, had been destroyed by an enemy he didn't understand. "How many human ships were lost?" he asked. "None, Chancellor," his aide replied nervously. The human fleet suffered no casualties. Vextar's claws scraped against his throne. "That's impossible. No fleet is that advanced." "Sir, our surviving ships report that human technology is centuries ahead of ours. Their weapons use principles we don't understand. Their shields are impenetrable. Their ships move like nothing we've ever seen." For the first time in his life, Vextar felt fear. The Empire's power was based on military superiority. If they couldn't defeat the humans, their entire civilization was at risk. Meanwhile, in Korthok space, War Chief Gorthok watched the battle recordings with amazement. His new allies had done something he thought impossible. They had made the Zephyrians afraid. "Send a message to Admiral Harrison," he ordered. "Tell him the Korthok Alliance is honored to stand with such warriors." Across the galaxy, other species began to reconsider their positions. The Federation Council called emergency sessions. Worlds that had been loyal to the Empire for centuries began to question their allegiances. On Earth, President Nicole Grant watched the battle reports with a mixture of pride and concern. Humanity had proven its strength, but they had also made enemies. The galaxy will never be the same, she said to her advisors. We've shown that the Zephyrian Empire can be defeated. General? Alex Stone nodded. But we've also shown that we're the most powerful military force in the galaxy. That'll make us targets. Or it will make us leaders, Nicole replied. The question is, what do we do with that power? In the hidden shipyards beyond Pluto, Admiral Jake Harrison prepared for the next phase of humanity's emergence. The battle of Proxima Centauri had been just the beginning. Sir, reported Ryan Tucker, we're receiving communication requests from 17 different species. They all want to meet with humanity. Jake smiled. The galaxy was finally ready to listen to what humans had to say. The age of Zephyrian dominance was over. The age of humanity had begun. Schedule the meetings, he ordered. It's time to build a new galactic order. Ambassador John Hayes stood before the Galactic Assembly, looking out at representatives from over 300 worlds. 6 months had passed since the Battle of Proxima Centauri, and the galaxy had changed completely. The old order is finished, he said, his voice carrying to every corner of the vast chamber. The Zephyrian Empire has fallen. The age of domination by a single species is over. In the audience, former Zephyrian officials sat quietly. Their empire had collapsed after the battle, with dozens of worlds declaring independence. Chancellor Vexstar had been removed from power by his own people, who blamed him for the disaster. Humanity does not seek to replace the Zephyrians as galactic rulers, John continued. We propose something different, a true federation of equals, where all species work together for the common good. War Chief Gorthak, now representing the Korthak Alliance, stood and spoke. The humans have proven their strength in battle, but more importantly, they have shown wisdom in peace. The Korthaks support the new galactic order. Admiral Jake Harrison, now serving as humanity's senior military advisor, watched the proceedings from the observation deck. The past 6 months had been the busiest of his life, negotiating with dozens of species and helping to create a new government for the galaxy. It's working, said Dr. Lisa Morgan, standing beside him. The transition is smoother than we expected. Jake nodded. The key was showing strength first, then offering partnership. If we had appeared weak, they would have ignored us. Below them, the Assembly voted to approve the new Galactic Accords. The treaty would establish a democratic federation, with Earth as the capital world. Humanity would provide military leadership and protection, while other species would contribute their unique skills and knowledge. Chancellor Mary Watson, Earth's new head of state, addressed the Assembly after the vote. This is not the end of our journey together. It is the beginning. Today, we start building a galaxy where all species can thrive. The celebration continued for hours, but Jake's mind was already on the future. The galaxy was at peace, but peace required constant vigilance. There were still threats out there, beyond the rim of known space. Sir, called Captain Helen Davis as she approached. The joint exploration fleet is ready for departure. Jake turned to look at the young captain. She would be leading humanity's first joint mission with alien allies, exploring the unknown regions beyond the galaxy's edge. What's the crew composition? He asked. 30% human, 20% Korthak, 15% former Zephyrian, and the rest are volunteers from smaller species. It's the most diverse crew in galactic history. Jake smiled. And they're all working together. Better than expected, sir. Turns out most species are eager to explore when they're not worried about being conquered. On the bridge of the exploration ship, USS Discovery, Helen watched her mixed crew prepare for departure. Her first officer was a young Korthak warrior, named Thoktar, son of War Chief Gorthak. Her science officer was a former Zephyrian named Zeshka, who had joined the human fleet after her world declared independence. "All stations report ready, Captain," Thoktar said in his growling voice. "The crew is excited about the mission." Helen nodded. The Discovery was heading for the Galactic Rim, where long-range sensors had detected signs of ancient ruins. It would be the first time multiple species had worked together on a peaceful mission. "Take us out," she ordered. "Let's see what's waiting for us out there." Back on Earth, Jake stood in his garden, watching the sunset paint the sky in brilliant colors. After 30 years in space, he was finally home. The hidden bases were gone, replaced by open shipyards where humans and aliens worked together. Above him, the sky was filled with ships from dozens of worlds. Trade vessels, exploration ships, and patrol craft moved in peaceful formation. The sight would have been impossible just a year ago. "Admiral," called a voice behind him. Jake turned to see Ryan Tucker, now a captain in the new Galactic Fleet. "The Council is requesting your presence at tomorrow's security briefing." Jake sighed. "What's the problem now?" "Nothing serious, sir. Just some pirates operating near the outer colonies. The Joint Fleet will handle it, easily." Jake nodded. Pirates were a small problem compared to the wars that had once threatened to tear the galaxy apart. "Tell the Council I'll be there." As Ryan left, Jake returned to watching the sunset. The galaxy was at peace, but it was a peace that required constant work. Different species had different needs, different cultures, different ways of thinking. A small shuttle landed in his garden, and Dr. Lisa Morgan stepped out. She was now Earth's chief xenobiologist, helping to establish communication protocols between species. "How did the medical conference go?" Jake asked. "Wonderful," Lisa replied. "The Korthax have healing techniques that could revolutionize human medicine, and our surgical methods are helping species that have been suffering from genetic disorders for centuries." She sat beside him on the garden bench. "Remember when we thought first contact would be the hard part?" Jake laughed. "Compared to getting 300 species to agree on trade regulations, first contact was easy. But it's working," Lisa said. "The galaxy is more peaceful than it's been in centuries. No major wars, no species threatening to destroy each other, because they're all afraid of us," Jake pointed out. "No," Lisa corrected. "Because they respect us. There's a difference." Jake considered this. The galaxy did respect humanity, but it was respect earned through strength and wisdom. The Battle of Proxima Centauri had shown that humans could fight. The past 6 months had shown that they could also lead. "What do you think the future holds?" he asked. Lisa pointed to the stars beginning to appear in the darkening sky. "Whatever's out there, we'll face it together. Humans, Korthax, Zephyrians, and hundreds of other species. The galaxy is united for the first time in its history." A communication alert chimed on Jake's personal device. He checked the message and smiled. "Captain Davis reports successful departure. The Discovery is heading for the Galactic Rim. A mixed crew exploring the unknown," Lisa mused. "Our children will grow up in a galaxy where that's normal." Jake nodded. On Earth, alien children were already attending school with human kids. The younger generation was growing up without the fears and prejudices that had divided their parents. "The galaxy assumed Earth was silent," he said quietly. "They thought we were primitive or extinct. They had no idea we were watching, learning, preparing, and now." Jake stood up and looked at the stars one more time. "Now they know that humanity is here to stay. We're not conquerors or destroyers. We're protectors and leaders. The galaxy is our home, and we'll defend it." As he walked back to his house, Jake thought about the journey that had brought them to this moment. 2 centuries of patience and preparation had led to this, a galaxy at peace, united under human leadership, but respecting the rights of all species. The stars above were no longer unknown territory. They were home to billions of beings from hundreds of worlds, all working together toward a common future. And somewhere out there, Captain Davis and her crew were exploring new frontiers, carrying the hopes and dreams of an entire galaxy. The age of silence was over. The age of unity had begun. And humanity, the species that had waited in the darkness for 2 centuries, was finally ready to lead the galaxy into a brighter future. The galaxy had assumed Earth was silent. Now it knew that humanity had simply been listening, waiting for the right moment to speak. And when they finally spoke, the entire galaxy had stopped to listen.